You ever hear something that just makes you stop and think? Like, you hear a story, or maybe even a single message, and suddenly it feels like it means way more than it did the first time. That's what this is about. A simple message. A message Van Jones got from Charlie Kirk. Nothing fancy, nothing long. Just a message. But here's the thing, it was sent one day before Charlie Kirk was killed. And once you know that, it completely changes the way you see it. Now, I want you to imagine something with me. Think about the last time you got a random message from someone. Maybe
students at Utah Valley University gathered to pay tribute to Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated on their campus just 9 days ago. The vigil comes ahead of Sunday's funeral for Kirk. Tens of thousands are expected to attend, including President Trump. His murder and some unexpected outreach that Kirk made the day before his death had resonated with our CNN colleague Van Jones. The story begins when a Ukrainian woman was fatally stabbed last month in North Carolina. The suspect is a black man, and Charlie Kirk and Van got into a public sparring match online. Kirk claimed the murder happened because she was white. Van denounced that as completely unfounded. Kirk then sent out what Van calls a fire hose of tweets challenging his argument, which Van says sparked death threats against him. In the midst of all of this, Kirk reached out to Van in a direct message on X. "Hey Van, I mean it. I'd love to have you on my show to have a respectful conversation about crime and race. I would be a gentleman, as I know you would be as well. We can disagree about the issues agreeably." Now, that message was sent on September 9th. Van says he did not see it until the very next day after Kirk was murdered. Van Jones just wrote a piece about this for CNN.com and is here tonight. I mean, this is extraordinary. So this was received the day before he was killed.
Yeah. Look, I mean, we were beefing. We were going at it online, on air. And then after he died, after he was murdered, my team called and said, "Van, he was trying to reach you, man." What? And what was he doing? Dialogue. Let's be gentlemen together. He says, let's disagree agreeably. So I'm sitting on this and I'm watching the whole country talk about civil war, censorship, justifying murder about this guy. This guy is reaching out to his mortal enemy saying we need to be gentlemen, sit down together and disagree agreeably. And the next day he's killed. And I've sat on it long enough, and I just said, you know what? We're going to Memorial Weekend for this man. We disagree. Everybody knows we were not friends, okay, at all. But you praise the good when it's time to memorialize somebody. And what he did, and I didn't even know it, was good. He was not for censorship. He was not for civil war. He was not for violence. He was for dialogue, open debate and dialogue, even with me. Even with me.
If, would you have gone on his show? Would you have done
look, I would have probably tried to get him on your show. I mean, I wasn't trying to build his platform, but I would have called him, we would have talked, and we would have started the process of trying to figure this stuff out. And I think what happens is people get so worked up, Anderson, seeing us go at it, they think they're supposed to go out and kill somebody, or go out and talk about civil war, or go out and silence people, or cancel people, or fire people, or censor people. About Charlie Kirk, Mr. Debate, I did not agree with him on literally almost anything. But we were words, not weapons guys. We were words, not weapons guys. And we were getting into a position where we could get some real debate going, whether it was going to be on CNN or on his show. That wasn't worked out. But I would have taken him up. I wanted to beat Charlie Kirk in a debate. I didn't want somebody to shoot him. That's how we do it in America. And the idea that now people on both sides are justifying murders and calling for civil wars, we got to calm this down, Anderson. We need to calm this down. We need to lower the temperature. Yes, we disagree, but like he said, we can disagree agreeably. That's his last words to me. Let's disagree agreeably. We should take that spirit into the Memorial Weekend for this guy.
You also wrote that in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murders, Americans have a choice. They can choose more violence, more outrage, more censorship, or a different way. It's similar to what the governor in Utah, Spencer Cox, has said in recent days.
Yeah, look, he's a Republican. He's saying the same thing I'm saying. I'm a strong Democrat. We have a choice now. This could be the beginning of us getting off of this pathway, but the pathway we're on, Anderson, is scary. It's about more violence, it's about more retribution, it's about more censorship, it's about more of everything that nobody wants, but we can't seem to get off of it. Charlie Kirk in his last message to me was pointing a way out. Civil discourse, civil dialogue, debate, let's disagree agreeably. If you want to get off this train, we can do it this weekend.
Van Jones, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Maybe it was a friend you hadn't talked to in a while. Maybe it was someone you don't always agree with. Maybe it was just a simple, "Hey, hope you're doing well." At the time, you probably didn't think much of it. You read it, maybe you smiled, maybe you even planned to reply later, and then you just moved on with your day. But now imagine waking up the next day and finding out that person was gone. Just like that. No warning. No second chances. Suddenly, that simple message takes on a whole new meaning, doesn't it? It's not just words on a screen anymore, it becomes the last thing you'll ever have from them. And it feels heavy, it feels important, and it sticks with you in a way you can't really explain. That's exactly what happened with Van Jones and Charlie Kirk. Van shared this story recently, about that last message. And when he told it, it wasn't about politics, it wasn't about debate, it wasn't about the arguments or the disagreements you might expect between two public figures. It was about something much simpler. Two people, reaching out, connecting in a way that none of us could have known would be their last. And that's what makes this so powerful. Because let's be honest, when we see names like Van Jones and Charlie Kirk, our first thought is usually about their differences. One person's known for one perspective, the other's known for the opposite. In the public eye, they look like rivals. But this story reminds us that at the end of the day, beyond all the cameras, the headlines, and the politics, they were still just human beings. And sometimes, human beings connect in ways that go deeper than any public label. Now let's talk about why this matters so much. Think about your own life for a second. How often do you put things off? You want to text a friend, but you tell yourself, "I'll do it later." You think about calling a family member, but you push it to tomorrow. We all do it. And most of the time, tomorrow comes, and everything's fine. But sometimes, tomorrow doesn't come. And that's when you realize that small things, like a quick text or a short call, were never really small at all. They were everything. That's what Van's story shows us. That message from Charlie Kirk might have looked ordinary in the moment, but after he passed, it became a treasure. A final reminder of connection. A moment frozen in time. And that's something all of us can relate to, even if we've never been in the public eye. And here's the truth. You don't have to send big speeches. You don't have to come up with the perfect words. Sometimes it's just a simple, "thinking of you." Sometimes it's, "hope you're okay." Sometimes it's just, "thanks." Those little words can make a huge difference. Because you never really know how much someone needs to hear them. And you never really know when it might be the last chance to say them. You know, there's something that experts on grief always remind us of. And it really sticks with me every time I think about it. They say what hurts the most when someone is gone isn't always the things you said. It's the things you never said. It's those little moments you thought you'd have time for. The, "I'll text them tomorrow." The, "I'll call them later." The, "we'll get together soon." And then suddenly, later never comes. Those little silences, those things left hanging in the air, they end up feeling heavier than anything else. When you really think about it, that's so true, isn't it? We walk around every day with good intentions. We mean to reach out. We mean to show love. We mean to check in. But life gets busy. We get distracted. We tell ourselves there's always time. And then one day we look back and realize the thing we thought we could do later was actually the last chance we ever had. And that realization can hit harder than almost anything else. That's why those small acts of kindness, the ones that might not seem like a big deal in the moment, actually mean the world. A short text. A 2-minute phone call. Even a funny meme you send to a friend just because it made you think of them. They might look small on the outside, but inside, they're huge. They're reminders that someone cares. That someone is thinking about you. That someone sees you. And when you put it in that perspective, those little gestures don't feel so little anymore. They feel like gifts. So maybe the real lesson here, the one we can take from Van Jones sharing Charlie Kirk's final message, is simple: don't.
The kickoff for Charlie Kirk's 14-city tour was here in Orem, Utah, about 40 miles away from Salt Lake City at Utah Valley University. Thousands of people, mainly students, were gathering in a large open courtyard. Minutes before the shooting, video from Kirk's own X account shows an open space and a barrier between the tent and the students, with multiple security guards standing at the fence line. Police say there were 6 campus police officers there as well.
A lot of people, Utah, I'll tell you what.
Kirk was a rock star among young conservatives, largely because of events like this, meeting college students up close on campuses across the country. Police say roughly 3,000 people showed up for this one, all watching and listening as it happened. Kirk was answering a question about mass shootings.
Do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Kirk is rushed into an SUV and taken to the hospital. Panicked crowds ran as police jumped in.
And let's be advised, UVU in Orem has had an active shooter at the Charlie Kirk event. We're getting several calls. We're trying to get more information.
In the scramble after Kirk was shot, video taken from inside a building captures what appears to be someone running across a rooftop. That rooftop is this building, called the Losi Center, less than 200 yards away from the spot where Kirk was hit. If that runner was the shooter, he would have been positioned about here. From this shot, you can see the rooftop of the Losi building is pretty easy to access. It's connected to another building by an elevated walkway, which, as you can see, is only separated from the roof by a railing. Aerial footage after the shooting shows police tape on the roof of the Losi building. And at about 12:36 p.m., an officer describes a possible suspect.
He's wearing jeans, black shirt, black mask, long rifle. Is on top of the building on the far north side, just east of the library, wearing jeans, black shirt, black vest.
6 hours later, Utah Valley University issued an all-clear, saying the threat is over. Charlie Kirk, the 31-year-old father of 2 young children, did not survive.
Don't wait. Don't overthink it. Don't hold back because you're worried it's not the right time, or the words aren't perfect. If someone pops into your mind, if you feel like you should say something, just say it. Send the text. Make the call. Drop the voice note. Because you never really know what it might mean to them. And you never really know what it might end up meaning to you. And maybe this story feels extra heavy because we've all been in that place. In one way or another, we've all lost someone. Sometimes it's sudden and unexpected, and it shocks you. Other times it's slower, and you know it's coming, but it doesn't hurt any less. And in both cases, there's almost always that little voice inside that whispers, "I wish I had said more. I wish I had told them how much they meant. I wish I hadn't waited." But here's the thing. When you hear a story like Van's, when you hear about how much that last message meant, it kind of wakes you up. It makes you realize you don't have to keep carrying that regret. You don't have to keep telling yourself, someday. You can start right now. You can be the one who says the thing that needs to be said. And maybe that will be the exact thing someone else is waiting for. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you sent someone a message for no reason at all? Not because it was their birthday. Not because they posted something on social media. Not because you needed something from them. But just because you felt like it. Just because they crossed your mind and you wanted them to know. If it's been a while, maybe today's the day to do it. Seriously. Think about how you feel when someone does that for you. When you're just going about your day, maybe you're stressed, maybe you're tired, maybe you're even feeling a little invisible, and then out of nowhere you get a text that says, "Hey, just thinking of you." Or, "Hope your day's going okay." Or even, "I saw this and it made me laugh, thought of you." Doesn't that instantly make you feel lighter? Doesn't it remind you that you matter to someone? Now flip that around. Imagine being the person who gives that feeling to someone else. Imagine knowing that your words, your kindness, your thoughtfulness, turned someone's whole day around. And here's the thing, you don't always know when that's happening. You don't always get to see the full impact. But trust me, it matters. It lands. It sticks with people, even if they don't say it out loud. Because the truth is, you never really know how far a small message can go. It might make someone smile on a hard day. It might remind them they're not alone when they feel like nobody notices. It might give them just enough strength to get through whatever they're facing. Or, like in Van Jones' story, it might become the very last memory, the very last piece of connection they ever hold on to. And I get it, you might be sitting there thinking, but what if I say the wrong thing, or, what if it comes across awkward? That's such a normal fear. We've all had it. But honestly, most people aren't looking for perfect. They're not grading your grammar. They're not analyzing every word. They're just glad you reached out. They're just glad you thought of them. What people really want is real. Real care. Real kindness. A reminder that they matter, that they're seen, that they're loved. And that doesn't have to be polished or flawless. In fact, sometimes the imperfect words, the ones that stumble a little, feel even more genuine. So let me tell you this. If you're sitting there right now with someone on your mind, wondering whether or not to reach out, that is your sign. Don't ignore it. Don't push it off. That little nudge, that little voice that says, maybe I should text them. That's the one you'll be glad you followed. And trust me, you will never regret sending a message of kindness. You'll only regret the times you didn't. Now, I want to hear from you. Because this isn't just about me talking, it's about all of us sharing and reminding each other of what really matters. What's one message you've received that really stuck with you? Maybe it was from a close friend. Maybe from family. Maybe from someone you didn't expect. But whatever it was, I bet you still remember it clearly. Share it in the comments, because your story could be the exact thing that inspires someone else watching this to pick up their phone and reach out today. And before you go, I've got something else for you. Another video that I think you'll really enjoy. It's about some of the most unexpected friendships in Hollywood, the kind of friendships that remind you that people are so much more than their public image. When you see those connections, you start to realize just how surprising, and how powerful, human bonds can really be. So if this video spoke to you, if it reminded you of someone you care about, do me a little favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And maybe share this with a friend. Because at the end of the day, these little acts of connection, the same ones we've been talking about, are what keep us all going. They're what give life meaning. And really, when you boil it all down, isn't that the whole point? To connect. To remind each other we're not alone. To leave behind words that matter. So maybe the best way to honor this story is simple. Don't just think about it. Don't just nod along. Take action. Send that message. Make that call. Let someone know today that they matter. Because tomorrow isn't promised. But right now? Right now you have the chance. And that chance is more powerful than you think.